All right, so we're going to do this again. Hi, my name is Arlene Summers, and I am the CEO and founder of Be Inspired Magazine. And with me, I have the pleasure of sharing with you Nissa Salas, who is out of Dallas, Texas. This woman is so phenomenal. We met each other about a year and a half ago at an event, and not only were we roommates, we found that we had a commonality as teachers, and it was just like I met my sister from another mother. And and she is just on fire. She is definitely my opposite, which is so great because I need a person like Nissa. If you don't have anyone like Nissa in your life who's so fun and energetic, who is a great motivator, you need someone like that in your life. And I'm so honored that not only were you able to be a blessing like that to me, but I was able to, with my organization skills, give you the tools that you need to help
Yes.
you get your book out in the weekend, because you have so much information, and to just put it together and formulate it. Why don't you share with them? And I don't want to take you away your spotlight, what
Ah,
you're doing and how you got to write your book from where you started.
okay. Well, first and foremost, I was a school teacher in Dallas Public Schools, did
Mhm.
that for a while, and then I discovered that I needed to make a change. I actually started becoming a personal trainer, had some major success of my own. I lost 60 pounds working out at home and became
Wow.
a fitness celebrity icon about 5 years ago, and didn't realize that my husband's old military injuries were holding him back. So had to make a total career shift and became his rehab therapist to help him to be able to feel better, walk better, and all of that. In
Hmm.
that journey, we ended up having to go to the VA hospital, the Veterans Affairs, and navigating that process to get all his benefits. So I went from being just the average wife of a veteran to a full patriot caregiver of a service connected disabled veteran that I did not realize was service connected disabled.
Hmm.
And since embracing that role, I've been able to share with my book how other women and other people could support their loved one that served in the military. So that leads me to my next deal. I actually had in my head my book, and I
Hmm.
would speak the different ideas to all kinds of people. And I found myself wasting a lot of time.
Hmm.
Um, I thought, wouldn't it be great for me to just get this all down on paper or get it into a product that all I had to do was hand the book over to them or say, go to this link and you can learn more.
Hmm.
And I came across your material, How to Write a Book in a Weekend, and that revolutionized everything for me.
Oh, yes, yes. And what I appreciate the fact is the fact that you got all of your information. And a lot of times, what makes it so powerful, especially with your story, is we always feel like we're in a situation by ourselves. So the fact that you put your book out and let people know that they're not in it by themselves, and you gave them a different way of
Yeah.
viewing what they're experiencing is the thing that is so empowering. And like, just like the story that you had shared with me with the family, the parents of the veteran. I'm not going to take
Uh-huh.
that away from you. Just share that and how it
Yeah.
gave them a different way of thinking, so then that way they can restore their relationship with their son who was in the military.
Yes. Well, there is from what I've seen, there is a varied level of support that you can give somebody. And then the military has its own culture.
Mhm.
So most people like you and I, we have people we know that serve, like you mentioned that your mother had served, my husband served, this young man served, he went overseas, he went to Iraq. Well, guess what? They are forever impacted by war if they have that experience. People like myself, I don't know what to do with that. I'm not a professional. I don't have any type of mental health certificate, this and that, and I was clueless. I was just the wife of a veteran. Now I am flip mode and totally have ideas, know what to do. If something doesn't work, I go the other direction. And I was able to share that with this couple. So I met them and they told me their son had served in Iraq. He came back in 2009 and he had an honorable discharge. And within a year and a half of getting out, he ended up with a huge drug addiction. So the day I met them, he was actually at the rehab facility at the Dallas VA.
Mhm.
Well, I asked them, how's he doing? Are you going to go see him? And I heard a lot of opposition. They were like, no, we're not going to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, there's some basic things that you need to do. If you really love him, you might not feel happy about where he's at in life, but you could be that extra little support that he needs. He might just go the extra mile and really do good in his rehab. He might
Mhm.
just have that extra reason because his parents are behind him. And so
Mhm.
it was phenomenal. They hadn't seen him in a long time. He'd been in trouble. And we had a chance to go visit him in person. And
Mhm.
that was after I wrote my first chapter.
Mhm.
And I had it mostly here, but some of it was out on paper. And I
Mhm.
said, first of all, he is and will always be a Marine. And you must address him that way. They were like, what? Really? Even though he's been out? I was like, yeah. He is, that culture is really
Mhm.
that way in the Marine Corps. To
Mhm.
the point I even asked them to go to the dollar store and get a small American flag to present him when
Mhm.
we arrived. And the way that he looked when his dad handed him that flag and his dad hugging him, and it was just, I was about to lose it. Dad apologized to him for not being there fully, to not fight for him at the VA, to not do as much as he could have. It was just amazing. So for the most part, we were able to patch up a relationship with a veteran who basically is in crisis.
Mhm. Now,
Crisis.
there are some people who may feel like, okay, he went to war and he became an addict. It's not, he didn't become an addict in the way that we thought, because, typically we kind of judge people based on our experiences or what we think.
Yes.
But how did he, for someone who doesn't
Yes.
know, how did he wind up on drugs? You know?
Yeah. So in my book, it talks about what to say, what not to say, how to ask certain questions. Now, this is a really kind of severe case. I mean, this gentleman is on drugs. So I taught his parents how to ask him, how to open the topics gently. And if he continues to follow along with the conversation,
Mhm.
yeah, by all means, keep the dialogue going. So it was like basically, what did you do in the Marine Corps? What was your these were the foundational questions to get him to that point.
Uh-huh.
What was your career? What did you like about serving? Blah, blah, blah. And then it just came down to it. I asked permission. I said, if you don't mind, we would love to know, were you just kicking back with friends and you ended up on a drug addiction? How did that work out for you? And he said, well, my back was hurting me so bad and I was only getting 10% disability. So I ended up taking heroin because the pain was so bad.
Mhm.
And that's how his addiction began. And it took a whole different angle of looking at his situation, not just our son is a drug addicted war veteran. It's
Mhm.
a wow, he wasn't getting the support he needed.
Exactly.
Now he's in the VA system. What else do we need to do to align ourselves as a family to get him what he needs? It was like
Mhm.
no other experience I'd ever had. Again, it was in my head. Hey, it's cool to say, I want to write a book. I
Mhm.
want to write a book is a great thing. Hey, I'm writing a book is a great thing. But guess what? I finished my book and here it is and it's ready for you. So I am in between the last two phases of those statements is that I've got this book. I already have people in the Dallas Fort Worth area. They're like, I want to buy a box of your books and give them out at our next meeting. I was like, what? Like,
That's life
I don't know how many
changing.
boxes, but they were like, we're going to be your first customers. We're going to buy this book and we're going to pass it out at our meeting. I was like, wow.
Yeah, and because you wrote a book before we talked, and you
Yes.
used my system, and what was the difference between how you wrote your book before and how you used the blueprint to writing your book to write this book that helped you to connect with families and be able to help counsel them?
I'm so glad you brought that up. So when I was in the fitness industry heavily nationwide, I actually wrote a book, typed it on the computer,
Mhm.
just kind of went at it, no organization whatsoever, but lots of great things, fully packed with details. But I really never released it. Although I went on the social media and I was like, I'm going to have this book, and people were asking me for it. Never panned out. So this time it's totally different because not only do I have the book, but it's an actual book. It's a product. It's already at my editor's office.
Mhm.
We have it structured, organized, and she's coming back. We've got different layers of stages to that. But it's just amazing. I didn't even think I could find an editor. I didn't know the process of that. Here's what I would tell anybody. Don't overthink it. Get how to write a book in a weekend. Follow the simple tips. Go to the dollar store and get all the simple things that Arlene talks about, which I won't mention. Get to work. Actually put in your calendar the day of the week, how long you're going to work on this, and plug away at it. Okay, so it's just like fitness. If you go to the gym on January 1st, but January 2nd, you totally forgot where the gym is.
Mm-hmm.
January 3rd, you forgot where the gym is. January 4th, 2 weeks go by, but you've only done one workout. Is that going to get you anywhere?
No. No, of
No.
course not.
It's just like writing a book. Don't don't go and get her curriculum and just start it, create which the beginning part, and then just put it up and be like, oh, no. Don't have a story to go with why you don't have a book. Have an actual book.
Mm-hmm.
So you can cut off the television a little bit earlier. You can cut off socializing with your friends so much or whatever. You can jump off of social media and plug in. If you're doing 4 hours of social media a day, which people do that, take
Mm-hmm.
2 hours and put that in your schedule and intently go and write your book. Now, another option you have is you've got great thoughts in your head. You've got the book. You may not have the title, but you know how to speak. So you can speak into an app or a program, and you can actually record your thoughts and you can hire a ghostwriter.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are doing that.
So you mean to tell me that maybe in 4 hours or so that someone actually can have their book completed and then they can outsource other people to
They
do the rest?
absolutely can. They absolutely can. You can create an easy read, you can create a workbook style, you can create a novel, you can do whatever you want. Here's the deal. People think, again, I don't really want to compare it to fitness, but we'll just go back to fitness because how many people want to get fit?
Mm-hmm.
Now, people think of the easiest, shortest way to getting fit. Oh, I'm gonna fast, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go and do a boot camp for 2 weeks and I'll be done. It's
Mm-hmm.
you want to think in the short term, but you also want to think in the long term. Okay, so you're going to write your book, but you're going to pad it. You're going to add extra to it. It's going to come in layers. Like I said, if I never got your product, I'd still have a book in my head. I would have met that family that veteran, and I would have given them a couple of good ideas, and I would not have had the conviction nor the way to be able to tell their testimonial on the backside.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I actually am, people are like, your book is coming out? Great. I want it on your list. I want to be the first to get it. The best part about it, too, is you can adapt my book to a parent of a veteran, to a sibling of a veteran, to a daughter or son of a veteran. All you got to do is just think of yourself as the caregiver or the patriotic one, not necessarily the wife.
Mm-hmm. And what's the name
So
of your book? Because we haven't even
it's
talked
called,
about it, I don't think.
I know, Veteran Wife Handbook.
Veteran have, and how can they get that information?
So they're going to email me directly at nissa@alexangel.org. So it's N as in Nancy, I, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, at A as in Apple, L as in look, E as in egg, C as in cat, S as in Sam, ANGEL.org. So my grandfather's name was Alec and he served. So we named our nonprofit Alex Angel, ALECS Angel. Okay, so that's just the way you can go. Also, my website will have, the links to all that in the near future. It doesn't at the moment, but you can still go visit. It's alexangel.org.
Powerful, powerful. You are doing such wonderful things. I am so excited for you and everything that you're doing with your nonprofit, with your husband, how you're helping families, and how you shared some of the stories that you're going to be including in your book. It's just amazing because typically I don't think of veterans that much or often unless I see them in public, but you are making their stories an archive that people will cherish and have a better appreciation of
Mm-hmm.
the lifestyle of veterans because we don't typically think about it unless we're going to war, unless it's something
I
in.
know. I know, absolutely. And once your loved one who served realizes that not only do you care, but you actually have the right verbiage. So there's a way to talk to a veteran and there's a way to not talk to a veteran. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we have in our book. And veterans are used to that, them versus us.
Mm-hmm.
Military is a distinct culture. And if they don't feel right or safe, they're not going to share anything with you. I worked with a 94-year-old World War II veteran. Not only was he struggling in a dark place dealing with his post-traumatic stress, but
Mm-hmm.
I was able to educate him on getting his benefits, come alongside with him to the VA. We're still working on that process, but I had 2 of his 7 children learn about dad's service from World War II. Gentlemen and women also that have served go to their graves every day and they've never written anything down. There's no medals to prove. There's no documentation. They've got these great war stories. And granted, some of them are kind of rough. You know, war is not pretty. But I insisted that he tell his daughter and his son what he kept telling me. He kept telling me, I'm the only one. I'm his adopted grandchild. He's got 37 biological great-grandchildren. He's got 16 biological grandchildren, and none of them know his war stories.
Wow. So you're going to archive it.
Grandpa is a war hero. Great-grandpa is a war hero. He didn't even tell his late wife of 67 years before she passed. You must learn about your loved one. How are they doing? How can we support you? Oh, by the way, you served. We're so proud of you. And you know what? They have their own distinct culture. They serve with their own distinct branch. They have their own unit they served with. Some of them stayed stateside and some went overseas. But when you sound like you have an idea, then they'll let you know everything. But if you act kind of like, oh, well, that's the past. You don't know how many spouses I talked to. I talked to a gentleman whose wife served before they met. They're on their second marriage. And I say, you know, you tell me about your wife's service. He's like, I don't know nothing about that. That's not important. That was before we met. And I was like, you're missing out. You're missing out. You could be learning some really cool stuff about your wife. I'm not here to change the world, but I am here to support our veterans so that they don't end up drug addicted, homeless, under a bridge, suicidal, in an early grave. There's many that are locked up in jail. I mean, I think it would be a great thing for someone to get educated. That's all this is. It's an educational piece so that people can honor their loved ones.
Awesome. Now I know we're about to end. So again, for you, those of you who did not get Nissa's information, get that pen and paper handy because you got to write it down. You have a veteran that you know of, someone who's serving in the military, and they're going to be coming back home, and you definitely want to know how to communicate with them so that way they can transition back to society as we know it every day, and from them transitioning from wherever they were when they were doing their terms of service. So now that you have your pen and pencil and paper handy, this is how you're going to get in touch with Nissa. So write it down.
All right. It's NISSA, like Nissan Cars and Trucks, take off the last N. NISSA at alexangel.org, ALECSANGEL.org. Now, they need to get your product, and that's going to be available where? How can we get a hold of you?
Okay, it's Be Inspired Mag, short for magazine.com/membership-plan. And there, while we're doing our soft launch, you'll be able to connect with the program and access it within 24 hours of confirmation. Now, here's the neat thing. For the first 20 people who actually contribute and are really serious about being an author, it's only going to take you less than an hour. And with me, you're going to take me home with you. In less than an hour, we're going to show you how to do one chapter, and all you have to do is do the repeat. Those first 20 people who make that commitment to themselves to not be a penny wise and a pound foolish will also have the opportunity to be online for an interview, share your story, and get your message out and be able to let someone know who you are. This is not just about you trying to pass something down to your family. You may want to share some information with your friends, people in the community. And with an online platform, you might be known globally because this is going to take you much further than you are. So, thank you. And, I'm just here to help people become authors.
So only the first 20, they will be working on their book. They're going to have accountability with you. Either they're going to follow up with you, you're going to follow up with them. And the minute they're done, you're going to have an online interview just like this.
Yes, and we're going to schedule it, yes.
That's crazy.
That's awesome. That's crazy.
Now, how much is your product?
The product is right now is at $99. And, just if you think about the cost, $99 is a no-brainer compared to you're paying for a conference. Your other option of paying for a conference, you have to travel, so you got to book a hotel, or you may be driving or flying, whichever way, or train or ship if you want to, or row your boat. You got to pay for so many things, and you may not even come out of the conference. You may be empowered, but you don't have something equipped. For $99, you're going to walk away with at least one chapter outline. It's going to take you less than an hour, and you're going to have an online video where you could be able to share your message with however many people are available.
So you're looking for 20 testimonials.
Yeah, I'm looking for at least 20 testimonials, yes.
Wow. And they're going to be able to share and spread and click the link and share the link on their social media platform. And they're going to be able to, for free or built into the $99, market it.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're going to be able to market it. We're going to schedule it and get it done. It's going to be so powerful. It's not about the book. It's about the message. So many people die, go to the cemetery, as you always hear that, the best ideas are in the cemetery. There's no reason why we need to let our ideas die with us. None at all. And, think about even going back to you yourself. If you didn't write your book, you would have gave the message to that family, the mother and father who had the son. His relationship wouldn't have been restored. They wouldn't have understand why he was on. They would have probably prejudged him like the rest of society, including myself. But now you've given people a different way of thinking. Imagine that power. How much is the cost of that? Priceless.
That's amazing. Now, what do you like about all this?
What I like is the fact that I've given people strength. I've given people the opportunity to put their message out that they never thought they would be able to do, and to just be able to know that, wow, something I say matters and people are listening. And the fact that their one idea, which is the book, is not the message entirely. The message is what happens after the book is published, what happens to people and what they're able to do. Because if you think like Hollywood makes a movie, and the movie is just not just a movie. It may become a book. It may become a T-shirt. It comes like a whole bunch of portfolio of other resources. And this is what people are able to do when they're able to just take their one little idea and just work it and watch it just grow its own legs, and it can run on its own, and it just blows their mind.
Which brings me to my last and final point before we let each other go. I'm so grateful because I spoke with another nonprofit in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that serves veterans, and they are going to buy a box of books, and they're going to be dispersing those at their classes. I met a gentleman last night. We were on the phone, and he volunteered to be on my board of directors. And he was kind of like picking my brain about what sets your nonprofit apart from others. What do you do? I said, well, to be honest with you, I have a book, and it's going to explain everything. He's like, I need that book. Like, I'm gonna be on your board of directors. I hope that's okay, because I'm volunteering right now. And he's like, yeah. And I said, yeah. Well, the book goes from something as small as get an American flag, post that in front of your home, all the way down to, hey, you may have to pay a visit to the VA hospital, and here are some of the offices that you're going to visit at your local VA with your veteran. It's very strategic. Some veterans may not need that type of support, and some may.
And I'm glad you brought that point up about them asking you about your book, because you know that when you become an author and when you write your book, that's a different way of being your advertisement versus a business card.
Wow.
It's more personal when they have your book, because then they get to know you and who you are and what you're trying to say, versus here's my card. So good for you. Kudos.
Thank you.
No,
well, I'm getting ready to jump off the call. Thank you so much. And I can't wait until my next products come out. I'll keep you posted.
Yes. And talk to you soon. Have a great one.
Thank you, Arlene. Bye.
Thank you, Nissa. Bye.